Hi there, Dr. Ben Fung from UpDoc Media. Just taking a little coffee break. It's been crazy this morning. We're gearing up to launch that webinar everybody's been talking about, the Marketing MBA in 2 hours, covering strategy and analysis. Super great for small businesses, small clinics. If you're a clinic owner or you're part of a clinic or you're a student in that clinic, so this is something you don't want to miss out on. The value is just ridiculous, especially the coaching session where you're basically getting one-on-one consulting, but for a fraction of the cost. So it's been crazy. I've been up forever. It is time for coffee. Well, I felt that story time would be kind of fun today. For my last year getting the DPT, I was given the option just because of what was out there and my interest to do a teaching residency. And it just so happened that it covered a segment of a physical therapy that I really, really like. Velocity, medium velocity, and low velocity exhalation moves secretion theoretically at different areas of the lungs up until you get into the main airways, and so you can expectorate those things out and get your patients breathing better. So it wasn't going well because if memory serves, and feel free to correct me and remind me if my memory is failing. Fast exhalations mobilize very superficial, very close to the center bronchial secretions, and then medium in the middle areas of the lungs, and then finally slow exhalations, very slow velocity and slow volume types. Really, really down far, theoretically close to the alveoli. And when you have fluid accumulation, as it is taught, you want to move it from the outside or from the inside to the outside if you're talking anatomically. So, get the stuff that's really, really deep and close to cellular into stuff that's a little bit more the micro airways, and then finally into the main airways, and then out. So after probably it was like 15 minutes of like a 2-hour, 3-hour lecture, just wasted upon trying to describe this, none of the students were quite getting it, and so I was like, well, how about a visual image? And it was totally on the fly. And 1 second, I need to respond to something on social media. And so I was like, okay, so what do we have around here? And it was, I decided, well, I guess the only food that I can really think of right off the top of my head right now is ketchup. So I use ketchup as, what if those were your pulmonary secretions as I drink coffee. And so, the students were game. I was like, okay, here we go. So imagine that, very close to the center, your primary airways, you had some ketchup, right? And if it was just like a big PVC pipe, and if you were to blow very slowly, it wouldn't move much. If you blew a little harder, it would. And then if you just huffed it out, that ketchup would suddenly move. And they're like, okay, that works. And then the idea of what if you had two plates or planes of glass very, very close together, and you fill that airway with a little bit of ketchup there. And if you were to put some air pressure across it really, really quickly, the air would just go above and below the planes, or it would just bounce right off. But if you were to put some air pressure across that small little tiny cross-sectional area with a little bit of ketchup in there, slowly, it would probably move a little better because you wouldn't get that bounce back effect from a sudden burst of, say, huffing or coughing velocity. And that's how you move the fluid in the deeper areas. And that's the continuum progression, right? If you have a very large cross-sectional area, you have a lot of room for shear, which means that you can just huff out a bunch of air, create the air pressure, and use that no slip condition in fluid dynamics and just blow out all the ketchup from your lungs. So after we had that discussion, everybody's like, yeah, I totally get that. Oh, but I don't want to have ketchup ever again. So that was how I ruined ketchup forever for that those poor first years. The funniest part though, was for not only did that really help on the exam and also on the practicum when that particular section or type of question came up. Years later, I got feedback. I totally used your ketchup technique to help with some cardiopulmonary effects for PT, and it still cracks me up to this day that I use ketchup as a teaching tool and totally grossed out a whole class of like 35, 40 plus or something like that. So anyway, it was just a quick coffee break story. Hope you liked it. Kind of shows off where our goofy minds go when we're kind of out of ideas of how to convey some type of clinical description or technique. You start to just dig for anywhere, and my mind, as much as it came to pulmonary secretions, went to ketchup. So I probably ruined ketchup for you as well. It's okay, there's always barbecue sauce or whatever. Maybe just never again, right? Just plain hamburgers and hot dogs for the rest of your life. So, and that's all I got for you. That's my coffee break. I need to finish this up, get back to work, wrap up, whatever is required to get that webinar out to you guys, and working on that value-based pay blog as well. Pretty much done with it. I think you're going to love it. It really demonstrates how value-based pay is just that much more superior to that yearly merit and hourly wage model that we really have just way too prominent in service-based industries, but specifically in PT. There's other areas in healthcare where hourly is still okay, but when we're dealing with front-facing patient care providers, and the value we bring is much more than the fact that we've held a position for a long time, and just the way the economy is going and the way our just the healthcare ecosystem and the culture within the various organizations and the micro entities under there, you're really going to have to look out for this stuff. Especially millennials that want to make better money early on. You're going to want to work for companies that offer value-based employee compensation, and they are out there. Trust me, they are so out there. They may not be in the settings or the areas or the regions that you specifically like, but quite honestly, I think those are the places to go. By going there, it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to raise your market value. As a millennial generation, as a fresh PT, it's going to raise the value of the job market industry whole for PTs, and it's also going to force companies and organizations that just want to lowball you all the way through to quit it, because it's going to cost them too much to replace human resources. So that's all I have. Hey, Rich, I'll just give you the quick on it. I used ketchup as the teaching analogy for mucal secretions and how you can help patients expectorate it, and how using cross-sectional area across the airways, if you blow very, very, or huff very, very quickly, it's good for large airways, and if you do it at low velocities, it's good for shallow airways per the classical pulmonary PT stuff. This was right after lunch.
I say this,
and yeah, sure. Come on in.
God damn it, Ben.
I grossed out a bunch of students.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
You're having ketchup right now?
So you were using ketchup as a demonstration for what exactly?
For active cycle of breathing, and for the pulmonary aspect of cardiopulmonary PT. The DPT students were just not getting precisely how various velocities of huffing affect different areas of the lungs from the classical model. And just teaching through that, I was like, okay, what do I have? And I was like, well, we just had lunch. I just had ketchup. Ketchup's pretty good for mucal secretions in terms of like the viscosity. So I was like, hey, imagine it, if you imagine it in a very large airway and you were to create all sorts of air pressure by huffing, it'd go all the way down the airway. But if it was a very small, little tiny cross-sectional area you just get that blowback effect.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because all the kids were like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I never want to eat ketchup ever again.
Yeah, I think for teaching next semester, I'm going to have to avoid using that one because I love ketchup.
It was so bad because there's so many, like, I wanted to say like a good third of these students were all from like the Midwest, and they love ketchup, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, I feel bad, but I did teach it, and they got it right on the exam, and so.
Yeah. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love ketchup?
I love ketchup. I understand there's actually ketchup flavored chips that are very popular in British Columbia.
They sell them in Philadelphia, where I'm from originally. My little brother is like his favorite variety. That you can get in here.
Okay, so it's more maybe a more northern rim type of flavor. It's not down here in San Diego. I can tell you that.
Yeah. You probably won't find a lot of things in San Diego that you'll find in Snackies, like sunshine. I don't know, something like that.
What? Change the patterns.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Ben, and I'm glad that you're. I'm a little concerned about using the model myself, but it's kind of it's a good one. It's a good one. So.
I don't recommend it. It was just I was having coffee and I was like, oh, you know what? This is a funny story. I think I'm going to share it.
Yeah. So you did that right out of school? Did you do that at Flint with the cardiopulmonary program up there? Like, who did you?
This was down in Azusa Pacific, where I got my PD degree, and for my third year, the last rotation out, I was offered a teaching residency opportunity. So I basically taught cardiopulm to first years alongside of the primary professor.
Who's the professor out there?
Susan Shore. So she may actually be running the whole program now. She is, I want to say she was Canadian trained, PhD in exercise physiology or something of that nature. Brilliant woman. She's a PT.
I should know her because the cardiopulmonary section is pretty close. I probably met her at some point. So great.
She's a like a small stature woman that commands huge audiences.
I
Wonderful
met,
woman.
interestingly enough, in that section. Ben?
Yes.
Maybe it's,
I got audio only right now.
Is it me or is it?
I think it's mutual. I've learned through just blabbing a little bit more. If I can't see you, you can't see me. Our mutual connection is poor, but our connection to blab's okay.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, I gotta go finish packing so I can head to Philadelphia to eat more ketchup. So
there you go.
Have a good one, and happy Thanksgiving.
All right, you too. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Bye.
All right, bye everybody. Hope you like ketchup.